fight today?
Welcome to the grid. What's it feel like out there? This is awesome.
But how much do we know what's in his head?
Hello there, and a very warm welcome to Barcelona ahead of the first day of the second and final Formula 1 pre-season test of 2016. Grand designs like this need firm foundations, and it's the same in F1 too. That was what last week was all about, and most of the teams have been able to lay those down, some with record levels of mileage. This week, however, is about honing the fine detail, exploring the vision of aerodynamicists, and also best harnessing the craftsmanship of those artists behind the wheel. You wonder if bit by bit the times will be chiseled away at, perhaps even threatening the lap record here. A chilly start to day one saw Toro Rosso reveal their new look for the season, complete with David Bowie influences. Can Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz be heroes? Ferrari power makes them 0.8 of a second quicker, according to Christian Horner. He expects Red Bull to trail its junior team initially. Intriguingly, the Red Bull of Daniel Kvyat ran with aero paint on its exhaust exits. A rediscovered blown effect? Impossible, say engineers. The car wasn't conspicuously quick and lost time to a small brake fire. You had a small fire in the car with overheating brakes. How did that come about, and how much did it set you back today?
Well, we had to obviously analyze the problem and understand where it's laying, but the guys did a top job trying to fix it and make sure that it doesn't happen again. In fact, it didn't happen anymore through the whole day, which I guess is a very good effort, and then it gave us a very, let's say, good workload afternoon, and we done quite plenty of laps, which we will have to go through and analyze plenty of things.
Just a word about engine reliability. Is that now a thing of the past, problems with that, and how is performance coming along? How will you finesse that this week?
At the moment, I think everything is looking good from that side. You know, obviously you always have to keep an eye on this, and you have to keep working. You cannot just say, okay, it's over now. We have to always improve, always trying to find that little chunk of performance, little chunk of reliability and so on. But so far, obviously, Renault been looking good, and we are trying to really, trying to make the most out of it.
Last to run their 2016 car, Sauber launched without fanfare. Are their season's aims similarly modest? Management talked of establishing themselves in the midfield. Systems checks and basic aero assessment filled their day one job sheet. Mercedes ran a revised front and continued to pile up kilometres. Then, in the hour before lunch, the most significant laps of testing thus far. Nico Rosberg lowered the pre-season bests for medium and soft tyres, the latter by 0.7 of a second. So Nico, some very eye-catching times from you on the medium and the soft tyre. Are you at Mercedes raising the bar above where your rivals, including Ferrari, can follow?
It's difficult to say for now. It's very close between Ferrari and us, I think, and maybe some other team might be there as well. But today, I mean, we were doing qualifying practice this morning because it's important to practice that as well, and that's all the more enjoyable, you know, to take the car to the limits and really push.
Because you took delivery of the qualifying trophy for 2014. You tweeted about that. Will you have to win that trophy again this year if you're to take the championship, do you think?
Not necessarily, but for sure I have to do well in qualifying, yes. To beat Lewis, I have to do pretty well in everything, really, for sure, because his level is very, very high, you know. He's doing a great job, so qualifying is going to be important.
You were open-minded about the new qualifying rules, but we hear they can't come in until Spain at the earliest. If they can't come in at the start of the season, should they be held over till next year, do you think?
Yeah, it's not very professional, the image that we're giving with that. We're going back and forth. Anyways, it's not such a major change, so it's good that we're thinking about it, and I think it's important to get them to bring them in as soon as possible.
Just one last thing. I know you and Lewis are working together on the car. Are you seeing the car in the same way? Are you pulling in the same direction in terms of the general setup of it?
At the moment, it's all pretty similar, yeah. You know, he jumps into my car now, then I take over his car again tomorrow morning, and it's always more or less in the same place.
Lewis Hamilton took over in the afternoon, but hardly chased headline times himself. Would or could Ferrari respond? Kimi Räikkönen bettered his teammate's best medium tyre time from last week, but reliability issues resurfaced, and a gearbox problem meant he spent much of the afternoon in the paddock with his son Robin.
Obviously, it could be slightly better at this point, but you know, we're in testing, and the purpose of test is to try things. And obviously, if something breaks or if I have an issue, we can fix it. We have still time, so you know, it's every year the same story. You know, you push, and then if you have an issue, we're planning to fix. So, am I concerned? Not really. I mean, that's the purpose of testing and trying things and learning about the car. Still. Not many days that we run, so obviously there's certain things that comes up, and but I would say it's a normal progress, and obviously we have some work to be done. But like I said, this I would say every year is the same, at least what I remember from the past. So it's, you know, it's a different story when we go racing. The car feels good, but just looking lap times here, we have no idea what everybody's doing. So. We know what we are doing, and we are quite happy how the car is handling, how it's running. But obviously, there's still things to be fixed, things to try, learn, and you know, this circuit, these conditions are completely different than once we go to Australia. So who knows? I think we have a very good package, but is it good enough? Time will tell. So.
Williams picked up the gauntlet, however. Valtteri Bottas bettered Ferrari's best soft tyre mark of pre-season, albeit he found scant extra performance on the ultra-soft. Reassuring it must be for you, because the received wisdom was that it was Mercedes and Ferrari rather detached. Have you given some evidence today that you can get involved in that fight, at least with Ferrari?
We're trying hard. You know, it was a good sign today that once we started to change the program and doing more and more performance work today, the lap time was coming down nicely. So. That was good, and we know that we still have plenty more to come. So yeah, we're trying hard to be up there. But if we're going to be there in Melbourne, I don't know yet.
It's the best non-Mercedes soft tyre time. I think you were a second down on them in Q3 here last year. So does that represent progress from the team at an aerodynamic circuit like this?
We have definitely made progress. So is most of the teams. Like I said, it's so difficult at this point to say in fine detail where we're at the moment. But yeah, we are still working hard. We have 3 days left of testing. I have 1 day, so looking forward to that to discover more about the car.
Just a final word on the new qualifying rules. We hear they can't be introduced maybe until Spain. If that's the case, should they be introduced at all this season?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's quite strange for me that suddenly there's a change to the qualifying. I haven't heard anyone has been complaining really about it, but yeah, whatever happens, I'm fine with the new system, old system, no matter. Just don't know what's the point.
2 systems in 1 season, is that right?
Yeah, maybe that's not really right if you think that way, but in the end, then if they make the change, it's same for everyone, and for me, anything's fine.
It was a better day for McLaren amid bullish predictions of massive progress this season from racing director Eric Boullier. A new spec Honda power unit ran without serious glitch, and Fernando Alonso broke the 1:25 barrier on soft tyres. A solid midfield time in what was McLaren's best day of testing for a good couple of years. Haas might fancy their chances of debut race points if they can stay on track. Esteban Gutierrez, the latest to suffer teething problems with the new package. Meanwhile, Kevin Magnussen had described the Renault as driver-friendly, albeit lacking downforce and power. At the start of this new project, is this a driver-team combination with time on its side? Headline times are starting now to become interesting, and is the competitive order taking shape into 3 distinct groups. Bottas may have dispelled the notion Williams had dropped down the pecking order. The midfield looks concertinaed with Force India, Red Bull, Toro Rosso and perhaps now McLaren, all seemingly closely matched. Amongst the bottom group, Harry Anto in particular will need to extract all he can from his remaining track time. Well, in many people's eyes, Mercedes have demonstrated that it could be a championship of one team effectively again this season, because Nico Rosberg, in a 15-minute spell just before lunch today, put in a couple of laps that were significantly better than anything we've seen this winter thus far. He was quickest by half a second over anyone else on the medium tyre, and then followed that up by being 0.7 of a second quicker than anyone has gone before on the soft tyre as well. It was difficult for Ferrari to react because Kimi Raikkonen had a gearbox problem that meant that he didn't have a qualifying simulation of his own today. It'll be interesting to see if Sebastian Vettel can get close to Mercedes times when he resumes in the car tomorrow. The other big story, a big development today, was a huge step forward for the McLaren team. Fernando Alonso finished 3rd quickest on the timesheet today, although he was a best part of 2 seconds down on Rosberg. This probably represents the best day McLaren have had in testing for 2 or 3 years, and with a new engine spec to come for them before the first race of the season, they can look forward to that and the expectation that they will be at least solid midfield runners in that opening Grand Prix in Australia.
Enjoy Sky Sports F1 Live on all screens, on the go, and the best bits on demand.